Yo, 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 what's up, guys? Quick little video. We got an interesting update on one of my favorite stocks, and you would be thinking, what could possibly go wrong with NVDA? It has only fallen through the freaking floor and is right now actually only $2 above its yearly low. You would say, how could this stock go any lower? And some terrible news could do that. U.S. officials order NVIDIA to halt sales of top AI chips to China. Uh, chip designer NVIDIA on Wednesday said that U.S. officials told to stop exporting two top computing chips for artificial intelligence work to China, a move that could cripple Chinese firms' ability to carry out advanced work like image recognition, hamper business, hamper business that NVIDIA expects to generate $400 million in sales. So, oh, come on, dude. NVIDIA. I mean, they just had a terrible earnings miss. They were off on their earnings by a staggering amount, almost about $1 billion. And now you throw this on top of it. It's like, oh, dude, what the? I mean, how? Like, what? How could it get this much worse? It's crazy. That's $400 million just gone poof for something they have no control over. And now we can talk about the politics of that all you want. It's obviously a very tense situation, and this is very, very, I mean, super escalatory. Is that a word? I mean, this escalates things. This is crazy. I mean, you got companies like TikTok. I mean, all these other crazy Chinese tech companies that like thrive on data and image recognition. You know, TikTok on your phone is always like taking your picture. You know, all that shit. They're collecting your data. This affects that because they all use NVIDIA chips and AMD chips for these data center things that run these companies. And ooh. Yeah, and that's about 10% of their total. So Stacy Raskin, a financial analyst at Bernstein, said the disclosure signaled that about 10% of NVIDIA's data center sales, which investors have closely monitored in recent years, were coming from China, and that the hit to sales was likely manageable for NVIDIA. So it's not the end of the world, but it was a growing part of their revenue, and now it's just gone because this like geopolitical BS that they have no control over. So that is not great for NVIDIA, and now NVIDIA is down here at 142. This is, I repeat, $2 off of the low of the year. Just crazy. I mean, just crazy. I just said in my last video, like, I could not believe how far NVIDIA has gone down. I mean, it went from 191 over here just 14 days ago. No, 17 days ago. It was at $191, and now it is at $142 a share. I mean, this is crazy. And just, I mean, look at this. This was a 10% red day, followed by another 4% day, followed by another 4% day, followed by another 2.5% day today. It just is like, and no one wants NVIDIA right now. It's crazy. It is absolutely in sell now, ask questions later mode. Just nuts. Just absolute bonkers. It scares me as a holder of this stock. I mean, we just like don't know what to value this company at. I mean, you cannot go back to the COVID lows and be like, oh, I hope it stops there all the way at $50. Obviously, it's a better company than it was back then. But you have to ask yourself, like, how far can this go? It scares me because then you look back at companies like Amazon back in the .com bubble. I mean, Jesus, let's take a look at that. Let's go back. How far can we go back? Let's see. So let's go to Amazon, the .com bubble. So here we go. Imagine this is April of 2020. We get a little crash, and then Amazon goes from $1 all the way up to $5. and then all the way up to 550, and then all the way up to 570. And then you get a big old pullback all the way, I mean, let's say all the way down to $1.50, and you're saying to yourself, hey, gee whiz, I think Amazon's probably a good price right here. It was at $5 up there. Well, you think, hey, I'm getting a steal. We're bouncing right here. I'm going to buy Amazon at $1.50, the lowest it's been in a year and a half. And then it rips all the way up to 250. You're thinking, gee whiz. I mean, if you sold and took profit right there, good for you. But you're thinking, oh, gee whiz, I'm sure made a good buy right there. Then you guys zoom out and really see where Amazon goes from there. I mean, it was a good price if you bought at $1.50 because it does steadily climb, but it did not just stop at $1.50. It came all the way down to 25 cents a share. So if you have iron hands and you could have held through that, that was another 80% drop from another 80% drop on a company that back then was, I mean, not that big of a company. You could look at like Yahoo for a better example. I mean, they got absolutely murked if you bought that back in 2000. I mean, Google can't even go back that far. Let's look at a actual stalwart, juggernaut company like Apple. I mean, okay, here, Apple's a great example because Apple in 98, during that pullback in 98, came down to 29 cents a share, ripped all the way up to $1.34. I mean, this was just stupid. This is the absolute crash of it. But it crashes all the way down to 50 cents, and you're probably thinking, hey, this is a good price to buy. I'll buy here. And then it comes all the way down to 23 cents. And then it does eventually rip, but not for, I mean, it doesn't rip back to that price at like 50 cents until 3 years later. So, I mean, if you're like long-term investing, it's all fine and dandy, but that's just what I'm saying in these about these companies that are absolutely, like, NVIDIA is best of the best in semiconductor, but we just don't have any like past precedent to look at for what their value truly is as a company, because it is just, I mean, it has just gone so vertical, so crazy. It's hard to be like, hey, it's at $140 right now. It was at $346, because you have to think, hey, that $346 price level was during the meme market. Even if you think, hey, $230 is a fair price, well, it hasn't been at $230 since April. So this is just what worries me about buying. Are you buying the dip on NVIDIA, or are you buying a falling knife that is only just beginning to fall? It's definitely a little troublesome. It definitely makes me a little squeamish about the stock, and yeah, it's just not good, man. It's not good. It sucks. It sucks, dude. I love NVIDIA, but the other, so we have these China headwinds now, obviously, because the U.S. officials said no more selling to China. So that sucks. We have semiconductor shortage that is still going strong. It is not like we're catching up anytime soon. You have the fact that the crypto market has crashed, and that is ultimately the problem with their past earnings, is that they call it gaming. They say these revenues are from gaming when crypto miners buy up their fucking GPUs by the truckload. They call these gaming revenues, and that is what they missed on terribly this last quarter, was gaming revenues, because guess what? People are still playing video games, but crypto miners are not buying up graphics cards to mine Bitcoin like they were 2 years ago. And that's the problem, is that the precedent, the bar got raised so high because in 2020 and 2021, you could not find a graphics card anywhere near its MSRP. But now crypto has crashed, so demand is slowing down a lot, and their revenues are taking a big hit. Their growth is taking a hit. This is absolutely a growth stock. So they have that headwind, and then throw on top of it all the other macroeconomic headwinds that are just hampering the entire economy, not just NVIDIA. And you have a messy situation where I just like don't know. I mean, no one really knows. No one knows like what's a fair price. What's a price on NVIDIA that you could buy in and be like, this is a great price? Because if you look back, I mean, it was down to $45 during the COVID crash. Before that, it got to $74. So what do you think, like pre-COVID? High would be a good buy. Um, that's still another 50% drop from where we're at, mind you. That would be about a 70. What is that? That would be about 80% drop from its all-time highs, right? Three, yeah, about. Um, so it's just like it's scary. I mean, it's really rough. It really sucks for Nvidia. I mean, of course I want to buy right now because shit. Last time it was at 140, it bounced and it didn't look back. And if you bought at 140, sold up here at 180, you're like cha-ching. But now the Nasdaq's going back down, so of course this is negatively affecting the Nasdaq. Which, by the way, I bought a call in before the fucking market closed. Of course I did. I sold my put and I bought a call. Why? Um, of course this hurts that. It hurts SPY too. And these indices are actually going up after hours before this news came out. So this is the stock market we're in. There's no blueprint. No one out there. There's no problem. There's no equation or blueprint or mystery to solve that is going to lead you to find the answers to when is the bottom in. There's nothing because there is just so much randomness. There's so many things you can never think of. Like, who would have thought the U.S. is going to stop NVIDIA from selling their chips? Who'd have thought Powell would come out in an 8-minute speech and drop a 3.5% red day on the market? Like, you just cannot think of these things. You cannot prepare for these things. You can only react to them. You can't predict them. You can't do anything. You could have seen, the only thing you could predict off of was when you saw SPY rip up to that daily 200 moving average and wick off of it, which, by the way, guess where else it did that? Back here. Let's zoom on out, a little history. Where else did it do that? Oh, well, back here in more. Back here in 2008. Look at this. Look at this bear market rally back in 2008 in May. We had a big old bounce from 125 up to 144, a solid bounce. And where did it go up to? It wicked right up and then closed barely above that moving average, like eventually, or immediately, I should say, sold off of that. And if you would have shorted on that, you would have made a literal fortune. You catch a 60% drop on the S&P. And now, it's so disturbing how close the layout on the S&P is to, I mean, from 2008, like what the S&P did from the start of 2008, it begins selling off. It sells, it sells, it sells. It gets a double top here in February. Insane, because what did we do in February? We double topped. It gets a big old rally through April, or I mean through the spring, which this rally happened actually in March. Well, no, it did start in March. So we get a rally from March through May. Come June, we dump, and then July through the late summer, we get a rally. We get a rally from 119 all the way up to 131. Not a huge rally, but a solid rally. And then rally fails, bear flag, short it, and we're dumping. And where does it start to dump? In September. And where are we right now? We're in September. And look at September, it was just a miserably terrible month. And then, of course, October. Everyone knows what happens in October. Worst month ever. Worst red day ever. Yada, yada, yada. Let's look at what SPY is doing right this very moment in our current stock market. I mean, it's eerie. We get the double top here. Look at this. I mean, look, you can't make this up. So we start selling off start of the year. Sell off. We get a double top in February. Sell off more. Ukraine war. Chop around. What's it do in March? It rallies. Come April, we sell off. May, we continue to sell off. June, we continue to sell off. Selling slows at the end of June. Start of July, we consolidate. Last half of July, we rally. August, we rally. Last week and a half of August, we dump into September. I mean, it's crazy. And then throw in the 200-day moving average that we wick off of. This green, if I can actually show this correctly. Piece of shit. I really need to use TradingView. Look at this. This green line that we wick off of, which also is is a key level of 431. Just like in 2008. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I would say it's just a crazy coincidence, but it's freaking me out a little bit. And that's why, because you just like that's what I'm talking about. Is you just cannot predict the unpredictable, and this market is incredibly unpredictable. If you're in a bull market where the rates are zero, where the Fed is pumping in trillions, then you could absolutely predict that everything you buy is going to go up until further notice. You can absolutely predict during a bull market that things will go up. During a bear market, you can predict there will be crazy rallies, but those rallies will flip at a moment's notice and go straight back down. I mean, we're at 430 back on the 16th of August. And now we're already below 400 and just sinking, just dumping. So, I mean, it's just crazy. This market is absolutely a circus. It's a fucking sideshow, circus show. I don't even know what to call it. It's craziness. It's not like it's impossible to make money. I mean, there's absolutely people killing it. I am just struggling. Personally, I'm struggling because I am just like, it's just like, it's crazy. It's volatile. It's crazy. But it's not the market's fault. It's my fault. But it's just if you were wrong on something, you're going to be very, very wrong, and the market is going to slowly explain to you why you were so wrong and why you were so stupid to think you could predict what was going to happen. So, anyways, I had to give a little update on NVDA and just the whole market in general. I mean, it's crazy out here. It's absolutely bonkers. So that's all I got for you folks. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.